Welcome back to Torah in 10. I'm Jody Burkell, and I'm so excited to be here with you again. What's the life-changing idea Rabbi Sacks of blessed memory teaches us this week? The more you celebrate the good, the more good you discover that is worthy of celebration. We're talking about gratitude. Over the years, people have asked me how I became observant. I didn't grow up this way, so they ask, what happened? That's what they all want to know. And I tell them, after the birth of my second child, I felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude to God. I've always been a grateful person. I always believed in God, but I didn't have a relationship with him. So this was different. At the time, I didn't know how to fully express my gratitude. My aunt, whose son was becoming observant at the time, called me and asked me, Jody, would you like to come to a Torah class? I don't even know what a Torah class is, I replied, but maybe if I go, it will be one way that I can say thank you to God for all the blessings in my life. And so I went. Mind blow. I went back to the class next week and the week after that, and I haven't stopped learning for the past 12 years. The first words we're taught to say each morning immediately when we wake up are Modeh Ani, I give thanks. Rabbi Sacks says we thank before we think. How amazing is that? What's more amazing is the order of the Hebrew words is inverted. Modeh Ani, not Ani Modah, so that in Hebrew, the thanks comes before the I. Judaism is gratitude with an attitude. And this, says Rabbi Sacks, according to recent scientific research, is really a life-changing idea. The source to give thanks is found in this week's Parsha. Here we read about different offerings, one of which is called the Corbun toda, the Thanksgiving offering. Now, we don't have sacrifices anymore, but there is a trace left of this idea when in shul we recite the Hagomel blessing. And that's said when someone survives a hazardous situation. This is identified by the sages who say that anyone who survived a sea crossing, so going on a boat across the ocean, someone who traveled across the desert, someone who survived an illness, or someone who's been released from jail. There is something deeply spiritual to connecting with a force outside of ourselves and offering our thanks. This was what we once expressed in the Thanksgiving offering, but it still exists today in the Hagomel blessing. How essential is gratitude to living a good life? After many years of scientific study, looking into the effects of developing an attitude of gratitude, we know that it improves our physical health and our immunity against disease. Grateful people are more likely to have a healthier lifestyle with exercise and making healthy food choices. Thankfulness reduces toxic emotions, emotions like anger, resentment, frustration, regret, and makes depression less likely. And it also improves our self-respect, making us less likely to envy others for their achievements or their successes. Grateful people tend to have better relationships overall. Saying thank you is one of the first things we teach our kids. Brené Brown, in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, speaks about the relationship between gratitude and joy. She always thought that joyful people were grateful people. But after countless hours collecting stories about joy and gratitude, she documented 3 powerful patterns. Number 1, she found that without exception, every person she interviewed who described living a life full of joy and who described themselves as joyful actively practiced gratitude and attributed their joyfulness to this gratitude practice. Number 2, both joy and gratitude were described as spiritual practices that were tied to a belief in human interconnectedness and a power greater than ourselves. And number 3, People were quick to point out the difference between happiness and joy as the difference in human emotion, one that's tied to circumstances, and two, of a spiritual way of engaging with the world that's connected to practicing gratitude. I want to focus on one thing that Brene Brown points out, and that's the difference between an attitude of gratitude and practicing gratitude. An attitude of gratitude is a way of thinking, a set of beliefs, and they are powerful predictors of living a life of joy. But we all know that although an attitude is a way of thinking, it doesn't always translate into behavior. I can say I have an attitude of a fit person, and I might even buy an overpriced Lululemon workout shirt and some hand weights. But if I don't get myself to the gym and make healthy food choices, my attitude won't count for much. But I want to take it one step further and then really encourage us to practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude is a call to action. And remember, Judaism is a religion of action. Jewish prayer is this ongoing lesson in gratitude. When we wake up in the morning, when we say our morning blessings, we go through a list of thank yous to the creator of the world for giving us the gift of being alive, for a functioning body, for our abilities, for the physical world, and for so much more. When I first decided I would like to start making blessings on my food, I thought to myself, what am I so thankful to God for? I called my friend and I said, Mish, what's the bracha for coffee? I took a little Post-it note and I wrote on it Shehakol, and I stuck it to my Keurig. It stayed there for a few years because I always wanted to remember my first. Rabbi Sacks says that this idea of giving thanks is a life-changing idea which benefits both our body and our soul. It contributes to happiness and health and is really a self-fulfilling attitude. The more we celebrate the good, the more good we discover that's worthy of celebration. When I have guests for Shabbat and they're expressing their thanks for the meal, what do I say in response? Do you want some more? The more we show our gratitude for all the blessings we have in our lives, the more the Almighty responds in kind. It takes effort to become aware of how much we have to be grateful for. And that's the logic behind, says Rabbi Sacks, Jewish prayer, making blessings, Shabbat, and many other foundations of Jewish life. This idea of gratitude goes even deeper. The word Yehudi, Jew, comes from the same root word as modeh, I give thanks. Rabbi Sacks teaches us Jewishness is thankfulness. Back to how did I get here? Choosing to bring more Judaism into life. God asks us to create a small opening for him, and he will open the whole world for us. The opening is gratitude. When we recognize all the blessings we have in our lives and then connect those blessings to the source of all those blessings, our feelings of gratitude will overflow. And that is a life-changing idea we can all use. Thank you so much.